I had a lot of fun making King Kong. I tried to put as many unique shots in it as I could. I did a lot of things differently than what I would normally do in one of my games, just, mixing it up.
Look at that! It's Kong!
King Kong is, the iconic franchise that everyone knows and has been around for nearly 100 years.
Everybody's familiar with King Kong, what happens. So we're not trying to totally retell the story. We're just trying to give you, hey, here are the highlights, here's stuff that's going on. That's kind of the approach we took to this.
I liked Keith's approach with this game, which was like taking a more humorous approach, injects a little bit more energy into the game.
When you play King Kong Myth of Terror Island, you get to climb a building, you get to fly a biplane around, have King Kong knock the subway train over. So you got a giant spider attacking you. What else do you need?
It was interesting when they said we're going to do Kong. I'm like, can we do anything with Kong? And it was like, it's going to be based on the book because that's what everybody's stuff is based on.
Not having a licensor gave us a lot of freedom to, do what we want with the story, the art, the call-outs.
Hoist those sails, Gary!
It also comes with difficulty. It's like, okay, we have no style guide, we have no assets, we have to create everything.
And then the other thing after that was, there's been 27 Kong movies. How do you make a Kong that doesn't look like all those other Kongs? We had a digital sculptor come up with options and stuff. So we kind of settled on the look what we got now, which is more of a cartoony, but not cartoony kind of thing. Like if you saw the toy, you'd buy the toy.
Going into this knowing that we could sort of choose whatever look we wanted, we were able to come up with a style that's super unique and it hasn't been done on Kong before, and it's fantastic. We came up with something awesome.
Whenever I start a game, I have to think of both, is it going to be fun to shoot, but also I need some cool mechs. So I'll generally kind of bookmark a place where mechs go and then make a rudimentary layout. Once I'm satisfied with the rudimentary layout, then I'll focus on the mechs with my engineer, and then we'll tweak the layout as needed to make the mechs work.
So when you think King Kong, you think giant gorilla. Kong actually started way, way bigger than he ended up on the final game, meaning the only thing that would have been on the playfield would have been his left arm reaching through the back panel. You don't really see King Kong. So we settled on a more animatronic-like mechanism for this game.
Our system programmer, Mitch, created a tool that allows us to animate a 3D mech on the screen, and then we can export that data into the Kong mech.
Every animation for King Kong starts with a fully digital creation of the animation. So whatever animation the programmer or Keith or an animator decides might tie in well to LCD or playfield rules, they can ideate and create digitally using our custom-built pipeline.
One of the exciting moments on Kong was when the actual Kong mech was plugged in on the playfield and we're seeing him almost hit the glass and actually stop the ball. When that got plugged in, we had 3 of those mechs in a row and they were almost doing YMCA.
I wanted Kong to interact with the ball in some ways, so the whole sequence of events for Kong to knock the train over is you light lock by hitting down the drop targets, you lock a couple balls, Kong lets them go. The third ball, Kong will stop. He's looking for Ann. When he finds out it's not Ann, he just lets go and then gets angry and flips the train. And mayhem ensues. Balls fly everywhere.
The magnet area had always been themed with the spider pit. And there was some high-level ideas of animating or motorizing the spider, but nothing that ever actually made it to a prototype. And one morning I walk into Keith's office and he's like, hey, check this out. And it was a spider on a spring.
I've always thought there was something more we can do with a magnet. Since you're pulling down a ball with magnetism, well, why can't we put something above that to also pull down? The whole spider mag was born off of Amazon, so I went on there, bought a Halloween tarantula, cut up some spring steel, drilled it on there, stuck it above a magnet, and I showed Rick, say, look, when you pulse the magnet, it causes the spider to actually crash down on the playfield. It's like, well, we don't want that because we don't actually want to bash the spider. So, we kind of toned it back a bit, just to animate him a little bit, but when we do want to bring him down to catch the ball, he can do that.
That spider is probably the silliest thing I've worked on in my entire time at Stern. Keith's requirements for the gong mechanism presented a really interesting challenge for a gameplay device.
Our original gong was kind of motorized and went up and down, and it wasn't that fun. So we tried iteration 2, which was more of a kickback mechanism, and we thought this was way more fun.
We needed something that can transition between a traditional bash target, but also as a flyaway target that let the ball pass through.
It will basically push back on a spring any ball hits that come in it. So you're basically blocking the shot.
Once the gong has been hit enough that it's qualified, we remove that spring force that stops them from swinging backwards, that lets the ball travel through the gong.
So the biplane ramp is probably my new favorite ramp in pinball. It's a very steep, helical ramp that feeds the right in lane very quickly.
Knowing it was themed as a biplane, you immediately think of all the swooping and diving and attacking of King Kong. So we wanted to build a ramp that made the player feel like the ball was doing that.
I figured this is perfect. This is the tallest ramp we've ever done. And I want it to be, fed from a side flipper. I just love the combo flow of, shooting in orbit and then shooting that thing, and it just comes flying up through there so fast.
We were accompanied by 3 iconic pinball artists to develop this art package. It's Kevin O'Connor, Greg Ferris, and Jeremy Packer.
I've always wanted to work with Greg Ferris. Growing up, Frontier was my favorite game. And never in a million years did I think, 40 years later I'd be working with this guy. Yeah, we love putting Easter eggs in the artwork, and since there was no licensor on this one, we had an empty slate to do whatever we want. So Greg Ferris put some of his prior games in the glyphs. We have Gary in there in a couple places. We have a shark fin, just throwbacks to titles that other people worked on who also worked on this project. So yeah, it was a lot of fun having the free reign to do that.
I think the art for the playfield is awesome. It's really cool how they got to use the Data East lower bottom part of the playfield from Kevin O'Connor. And then Zombie Eddie with the back glasses, he just knocked it out of the park on those.
The premium back glass is, one of my favorite pieces of art done for this game. It's also probably got the most Easter eggs on an actual back glass that we've done in a while. So I'll leave that to the player to find.
The artists really came through. We have a mixture of like 2D, 3D, so it's like everybody had to bust out every skill to make it look the way it did.
It's supposed to be like you're watching film reels on a theater in the 30s and 40s, and then sometimes it'll show you that, and then it'll cut to like a full color version, so it's like what you would see in a real environment.
We storyboarded everything out first, then we do an animatic stage where we cut those storyboards up and animate them into like what I call short attention span theater, right? Like the 3-second award, like something happens, blam, score.
Throughout the game, as King Kong, you're climbing up the building, shooting the climb arrows, with the ultimate goal of getting to the top.
In just about every Keith game, there's going to be some amount of humor. As Kong is climbing the building, he can occasionally punch through the window.
He has to like look in windows or smash windows and look and see if that's the person he wants to get, if that's a hand or not. So after doing about 3 or 4 of those, I'm like, I don't know, he should probably eat a guy. Every once in a while, he'll pull a guy out and just like eat him. He's like, oh, okay. Like, it's kind of a throwback to the old pinball games where they were trying hard to add some humor in the game. There are animated bananas in this game. The animatics are what gives the audio guy like a blueprint.
I get those, and then I get to make fun sounds for all these crazy monsters on Terror Island. You have T-Rex, you have an octopus insect, you got a giant spider, obviously a lot of jungle drums and things like that.
Jerry is known for his metallic sound, so we have to rein him in often, but here's a perfect game, Jerry. There's a gong. You get to do your dream metallic sound.
I apparently like the metallic sounds. Keith brought that up on Godzilla. I didn't want anything modern sounding because it's a kind of a retro theme. So it's a mixture of Island and New York City, but all in the same orchestral family.
Of course, it's fun to make a monster game because what do? They just break stuff and they scream and they roar. The hard part is they don't talk.
We have a great voice cast. Keith and I have loved working with Rick Zeef on almost every game.
Well, shiver me timbers.
Rick is the boat captain and kind of tells you what to do in the game.
Watch your stern!
And then we got Rick's daughter. She's making her pinball debut as Ann Darrow.
I knew I shouldn't have brought a backpack full of bananas to this island.
Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers is Jimmy.
Man, I wish someone would invent video games.
Oh, that's a fun one. That's funny.
Jimmy is a younger guy who's just eager to be on this expedition.
Nah, I'm not scared.
Since it was a retro theme, his script is more like you would have heard in the old movies.
Is it like that 1930s thing where he's like, hello, boys, like that sort of thing?
Some fellas my age are stuck sweeping floors. I'm out here seeing the world.
Yeah, Brian Quinn was pretty funny. He was doing all these gorilla sounds, but nothing was coming through the microphone. It was like Zoom kept cutting out, so we couldn't hear half of what he was saying.
That looked great. We couldn't hear any of it, but it looked like it's going to sound awesome.
So we're kind of going for a classic 90s vibe with the voice work.
No, Mr. Kong, I expect you to die.
You're playing and you hear this joke call out or a call out you don't hear very often as a reference to another game that just, cracks a smile.
Hey, that looks like Nublar. If we're taking him on board, we're going to need a bigger boat.
So if you like destruction and monsters rampaging throughout, major metropolitan areas, this is the game for you.
It's got a really deep rule set. It's getting deeper every day, and the shots are great.
I remember the first time playing it and how smooth it was, how everything flows. You can hit just about any shot from any flipper.
There's lots of flowing shots, there's lots of stop and go shots, there's a variety of shots that do different things to the ball, and they all feel fun.
There's going to be so much action and so fast. You're just going to be shooting combos, doing whatever modes. I just design games that I think are fun, and if everyone else thinks they're fun, that's great. I'll have a job. The day everyone stops thinking they're fun, then I don't know, I'll go back to something else.
He's got a future in pinball, I think. A lot of people don't, and that's too bad, but hopefully I win.